What's good, everybody? I'm here to talk about Scrafty, which has some super awesome and useful buffs and changes in this hack as always. But before I can get into that, I have a quick little disclaimer. If you just happen to be clicking on this video, what's up? Welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can check out all my other videos, and most importantly, in the Google Sheet down below in the description. Not only can you see all of the, Pokemon buffs and changes for yourself, which is a lot more efficient than watching all of the videos. Not that you shouldn't do that if you want to. But most importantly, there is a link in that Google Sheet right here on the bottom. It's this tab right here on the bottom, and you can see it says search all moves here, and you can check out all 600 plus move buffs and changes, as well as 130 plus custom brand new moves. Every move has been reworked for the most part, so definitely give those a look because those are really important as to how the Pokemon function now. So yeah, that being said though, we've got Scrafty, who was already very good ability-wise. Obviously, he had a lot of other issues, but and obviously, with the grand scheme of all the power creep in the hack and all this stuff, everything's gonna need a buff, even if it was a quote-unquote good Pokemon before. But the beautiful thing, first off, is that you do have access to infinite usability capsules, so you can easily switch between Intimidate and Moxie depending on the situation. So this makes Scrafty an excellent utility Pokemon and a pretty good offensive Pokemon as well. It's really nice because you already have that very good bulk, and that is completely bolstered by Intimidate. So 70 HP, which is slightly better than it used to be, just because I try to base HP a little bit more on size now, and he is, an average sized Pokemon. So 70, 115, 115 bulk. He's also a little bit faster, and actually a good bit faster and a good bit stronger. But the main buff here is actually the move pool that Scrafty now has, because all of these move changes and buffs make him a lot better. So not only does he have reliable recovery in the form of a move called Molt, which is bug, I give it to bug types, and I also give it to like lizard type Pokemon for reliable recovery, and that's really good on Scrafty, obviously, because it's healing, and he's a bulky Intimidate type Pokemon, and he can use stuff like Parting Shot. Intimidate Parting Shot is incredible, as well as moves such as Battle Cry, which Battle Cry drops both the opponent's offensive stats by 2, which is very much needed in a hack with powerful Pokemon running around all the time. Not to mention all of the critical hit rate moves will bypass any Intimidate drops, any Scary Face attack drops and speed drops, not the speed drops obviously, but any breaking swipe attack drops, any skirmish attack drops. All these really good debuffing moves are completely nullified by all of the crit moves. Even First Impression, which is now ATM that most Pokemon, including Scrafty, get access to. Scrafty is first of all now weak to that, by the way, because Bug is now neutral on fighting, so Scrafty did gain a weakness with his type combination, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. He's still an incredible defensive Pokemon, and he has some useful resistances and immunities despite having that 4 times weakness to Fairy. So yeah, my point is that Intimidate is incredible, but you do have to keep in mind that crit moves, which there are many of, will still bypass right through that and ignore your Intimidate. So it makes Intimidate a little bit less of an overpowered ability, but it's still a very good tool nonetheless, especially with that Parting Shot. That's beautiful. Intimidate Parting Shot on a bulky Pokemon like this is very nice to have. You also have stuff like Glare. Glare will drop the opponent's attacking stats by 1 and paralyze the opponent. So it's almost like just a better Scary Face, which is why it's a little bit after Scary Face. Not entirely better, because Scary Face works on sorry, take a sip of my drink. Scary Face works on electric types and other stuff, but Glare obviously will not. Yeah, that's about it. And you can run like Foul Play on those bulky sets. You can also run Iron Defense. All that bulky stuff is great. As for offensive sets, obviously Moxie is very nice for that. Keep in mind that setup is nerfed in this hack. Setup moves have decreased PP by a lot. For example, Dragon Dance only has 2, Bulk Up only has 3, Swords Dance only has 1, that kind of stuff. Not to mention there's a lot of anti-setup stuff. So not only does Pokemon in general having First Impression kind of negate a lot of fast setup sweeps, because, for example, especially if you're weak to First Impression, then your sweep can just be stopped instantly unless you're running a move slot on Protect, in which case then you lose that on coverage or something else that you might need. So you just have to be smarter with your moves if you are going to try to pull off a sweep. Not to mention tons of Pokemon have access to Priority Roar and Whirlwind, which are 3 PP now, just for balancing reasons, and then there's a bunch of other stuff like Priority Heart Swap and Haze, and Haze is not priority, but Haze in general. Unaware Pokemon are a lot more common, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, setup is not nearly as broken as it used to be, but it's still very, very good, especially with your incredible move pool, your very good bulk, and your good speed tier base 73. So not only can Scrafty run a good Scarf set, you can also just use his priority moves, which are Mach Punch and Sucker Punch, and of course First Impression. And then he also has tons of other good stuff for coverage. Obviously, he has incredible coverage, as you can see here, all these great new moves, and you can check out what all these do in the description below, like I said at the beginning of the video. But Moxie is especially great, obviously, with the setup moves like Dragon Dance and Swords Dance plus Sucker Punch plus Moxie is great. Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Sucker Punch, Moxie is great, all that kind of stuff. Another really cool thing you can do with Moxie, well, first off, you have Reversal earlier on, which is really nice because you can use Indoor plus Lychee Berry or Select Berry Reversal, and then you can get those attack boosts and you get the speed boost and you get 200 base power Reversal. It's very strong because Indoor is a TM now, so you can easily teach that whenever you need to. Then you get Rolling Kick, which is really nice as well. Rolling Kick gives you +1 speed. That's awesome. That's 60 base power as well. So it's Fire type Flame Wheel. So sorry, excuse me, Fighting type Flame Wheel. Both of those are 60 base power and give you +1 speed. And that's really nice on a Moxie Pokemon like this with a middling speed tier. Not that it's bad. It's pretty solid. +1 you outspeed basically everything because Choice Scarf is not very common in game, so that's nice. Again, keep in mind you still are checked by a lot of strong priority moves, but it's a good Pokemon nonetheless. That bulk really does help. You could probably live a first impression from a non-bug type or a non-ruthless Pokemon. You could definitely live a first impression if it's not boosted by Technician or Ruthless or something. Otherwise, False Strike, Finishing Blow is also a great combination with Moxie. False Strike will leave the opponent on 1 HP always, and that gives you +1 attack and accuracy. So you can actually use Battle Cry, get the opponent to -2 or 4 or even -6, which is kind of overkill, attack and special attack, and then you can False Strike up to 5 times, so that actually will give you more boost than you can get with any other setup move like Bulk Up or Swords Dance. You can False Strike as many times as you want. You can then heal off with Molt or Drain Punch, and then once you have all the boosts you need, you can then use Finishing Blow to get another +3 attack. So False Strike plus Finishing Blow is a great combo, especially with Moxie. So Finishing Blow plus Moxie, you'll essentially have +4 attack, okay? Once you kill something with Finishing Blow. Obviously, it is relatively weak. It is 52.5 base power, including the fact that it always crits. So it's not very strong, but not that that's weak, but it's not super strong at all, especially because it's non-stab. So you're mostly using that just for the utility alongside False Strike. And you can also use Power Trip later on. About 10 levels later, you get Power Trip, which is obviously incredible. That's stab. That works great with Moxie. Can also work great with Intimidate sets because Intimidate is not just a defensive ability. It can also let you set up easier because the opponent is now weaker. You can get off Bulk Up or Swords Dances or whatever. Or Dragon Dance is easier. Keep in mind, Dragon Dance is one of the last TMs you get. Actually, literally the last TM in Totem Kumo-O's lair. So yeah, you got to keep that in mind. But you also have Agility early on if you really needed the boost speed, but I would probably rather just run Sucker Punch or Mach Punch or something at that point. Not that Agility's bad because it's good. You could use that with Drain Punch and other stuff. What else is there? Power Chip also gives you another +1 attack each time you click it, so that's incredibly good with False Strike, Finishing Blow, or any of the other setup moves, and Power Trip with the +1 attack. Keep in mind though that it only has 3 PP for balancing reasons because otherwise that would be absolutely overpowered. It still is very strong, but the PP helps keep it in check. Otherwise, you have very powerful stab moves later on, like Wicked Blow, High Jump Kick, Submission, Triple Kick. All these moves are very strong now, or just changed in some regards. So definitely give those a look. Honestly, just look up what all these moves do as you're scrolling through the sheets. It would definitely be helpful for you to understand how a lot of these moves now function. But other than that, though, I don't know what else to say, really. He's just a great utility Pokemon. I would personally rather use him as utility than offense. Not that he's bad with offense, because, like I said earlier, not only do you have access to infinite usability capsules, you also have access to infinite EV training. So you can easily just switch on max speed, max attack, max HP, max attack for certain fights. And then you can use max HP, max def, max HP, max defense. You can run full utility sets for other boss fights. You can very much customize your EV spreads and make the most out of your Pokemon. So that's really great for Scrafty. Great utility and great offense. Other than that, that's about it. There's only one other Dark Fighting type, I believe, in this hack. There's no other new ones, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's just Pangoro. So we'll get to them in Kalos and compare the two, I guess. But for now, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this style of buffs and changes. If you are new here, definitely make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. And yeah, check out the Google Sheets down below. And I appreciate you for listening. And I'll be back for more Pokemon coming up. Peace.